Hey Reddit, I honestly never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts, but here I am, sitting in a nearly empty apartment, typing this while nursing what's left of my pride. I guess this is part therapy, part closure, and maybe a little warning to those who might find themselves in a similar place. My wife, let's call her Lisa, and I have been married for 6 years. No kids. We agreed early on that we'd enjoy our time together, travel, focus on our careers, and maybe revisit the idea of a family down the line. For the most part, I thought our relationship was good, stable. Not perfect, sure, but solid. Lisa was always the more outgoing one, sharp, witty, and a little fiery. Honestly, that's what attracted me to her in the first place. She didn't take crap from anyone, had this strong personality, and knew exactly what she wanted. Or at least that's what I thought. Over the past year, though, things began to shift. Nothing huge at first, just little things. She started locking her phone all the time. Not just a passcode, Face ID, thumbprint, the works. She used to leave it lying around. Now it was always on her or hidden. When I asked, she brushed it off. Work's crazy, she'd say. Clients are sensitive about privacy. Okay, fair. Then there were the girls' nights out that became more frequent, every other weekend, sometimes during the week. She'd come back late, smelling like someone else's cologne, laughing a little too hard at her own stories. When I asked about it, she'd snap. You don't trust me anymore? What, am I not allowed to have a life? I told myself not to be paranoid. We'd been together long enough. Maybe I was overthinking it, maybe it was just stress. Everyone goes through rough patches, right? But the real shift came the day our kitchen sink started leaking. I'll never forget it. A Friday afternoon, Lisa called me at work, said the sink was acting up and she was calling a plumber. I told her I'd handle it over the weekend, but she insisted. No, I already booked someone. He's coming in an hour. That's when everything started unraveling. I didn't know it then, of course. I was too focused on getting through work, too naive to see the storm brewing just beneath the surface. This was just the beginning. So, if you read part one, you know things were already weird between me and Lisa, but I still didn't suspect anything serious. At worst, I thought maybe we were growing apart. I had no clue that a damn plumbing job would open Pandora's box. The day the plumber came, let's call him Jake, Lisa texted me a photo of the fixed sink, along with a smiling selfie. Crisis averted, she wrote. I didn't think much of it. Looked like a regular kitchen fix, job well done. She even said he was super helpful, really knew what he was doing. Cool. That's what plumbers are supposed to do. But from that day on, Lisa started dropping Jake's name in conversations more often than any plumber's name should ever be dropped. Oh, Jake said we should upgrade the garbage disposal. Jake said our pipes are kind of outdated. Jake's actually pretty funny. He told me a story about a client who, why is my wife chatting with a plumber long enough to hear funny stories? Then came the weirdest part. She started wearing makeup and perfume on random weekdays, even if she was working from home. One time I came home early and she was clearly flustered. Hair done, in a dress, candles lit like she was expecting someone. She told me she was just trying to feel pretty and was about to take some Instagram photos for fun, right? Then, about a month after the plumbing visit, I noticed something on our shared Google Calendar. She'd accidentally added a recurring event called Check Pipes Maintenance every Thursday afternoon. When I asked her, she said she was just keeping track of when to run the dishwasher with vinegar. I swear to God, I didn't even know how to respond to that. Still, still, I ignored it. I told myself I was just being insecure. The real punch to the gut came one evening when Lisa left her iPad at home and forgot it was synced to her phone. While she was out with the girls, a string of notifications popped up. iMessage from Jake. Can't wait to taste you again. My heart dropped. I stared at the screen, not sure whether to scream or throw up. Then came another one. You looked so hot in that red dress last time. Wear it again? I sat there frozen for a solid 10 minutes, just numb. Everything hit me at once: the locked phone, the fake calendar entries, the perfume, the sudden need for a plumber in our lives, and the worst part, I still wanted to believe it wasn't what it looked like. But it was. After seeing those texts between Lisa and Jake, I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even blink. I just sat there replaying every moment in my head. Every lie, every time she snapped at me for asking basic questions, every Thursday vinegar rinse. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I waited. Waited for Lisa to come home from her girls' night, which we now know was not with any girls. She came in around 8:30 a.m. wearing sunglasses like she was hungover, acting all casual. "Hey babe," she said, dropping her purse like nothing happened. I was sitting on the couch with the iPad in my lap. "Who's Jake?" I asked, not looking at her. There was a beat, a pause, and then, "The plumber?" she said, voice rising just a touch. "Why?" I turned the screen toward her. The messages were still there. I didn't even need to scroll. Her face went pale, then red. And just like that, she flipped. "You went through my messages? Are you seriously spying on me? What is wrong with you?" Not a single ounce of remorse, not even an attempt to deny the affair. She went full offense, screaming at me about privacy and how I betrayed her trust by checking her tablet. I calmly asked, "Are you sleeping with him?" She rolled her eyes. Rolled her eyes. Then came the lies. Rapid fire. "No, we were just flirting. It didn't mean anything. It only happened once. It's not serious." And then the big one. "Well, if you weren't so emotionally distant lately, maybe I wouldn't have needed someone else." Boom. There it was. My fault. I stayed calm, or maybe I was just too numb to react. "You invited a stranger into our home and slept with him in our bed," I said. She didn't deny it. She just kept yelling, crying, screaming that I was ruining everything by overreacting. I told her I'd be staying with my brother for a few days and left before I said something I'd regret. And you know what she screamed as I walked out the door? "Good. Maybe Jake will come over and finish what you can't." Yeah, let that sink in. When I walked out of that apartment, I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I didn't punch a wall or break down. I just felt empty. You always think that if something like this happened to you, you'd feel rage or devastation, maybe some dramatic mix of the two. But I didn't feel either. I felt like someone had unplugged me, like I was watching my life from a distance and none of it was real. I crashed at my brother's place that night, didn't even tell him why at first, just asked if I could stay a few days. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and turned on the game. That beer sat untouched. The next morning, it all hit me. The betrayal, the lies, the absolute disrespect of everything we'd built together. I thought about the vacations, the anniversaries, the dumb arguments over paint colors, the late night talks about growing old together, and all I could think was, how the hell did it come to this? I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just stared at the ceiling and felt like I'd lost something I couldn't name. Lisa didn't text that first day, or the second. On day 3, she sent a single message. "Can we talk like adults now?" I ignored it. Then came another. "I made a mistake. Can we just move past this?" Move past this? Like it was some spilled coffee or a parking ticket. That's when the rage finally kicked in. Slow, burning, righteous. How dare she try to play the victim? She lied to my face. Slept with some guy she barely knew in our bed, and I'm supposed to just move past it? Still, I didn't respond. That night, she called, left a voicemail. She was crying, screaming, said I was abandoning her, that I was destroying our marriage by ghosting her. Projection at its finest. And that's when the sadness came. Not for her, for me. For the 6 years I'll never get back. For the loyalty I gave to someone who treated it like a joke. For the version of myself that truly believed I had a forever partner. I knew then I'd never look at her the same way again. And I knew what I had to do. After ignoring Lisa's texts and voicemails for almost a week, I finally responded. Not with a message, with divorce papers. I called a lawyer, told him everything. I didn't want revenge, I didn't want drama, I just wanted out. No kids, no shared business, just a lease, a couple of shared bank accounts, and a hell of a lot of broken trust. When she got served, I was told she completely lost it. She tried calling me 10 times in a row, then switched to texts. "You're really doing this? Over one mistake? We can fix this if you just be a man and talk to me." Then came the gaslighting. "I didn't cheat, I was lonely. You emotionally abandoned me months ago. I didn't sleep with him. It was just flirting." I guess she forgot about the iMessage that said, "Can't wait to taste you again." I didn't respond. Not one word. Then came the guilt trip phase, a long, manipulative email about how I was destroying both our lives because I let one bad decision define everything. She even threw in how Jake meant nothing and she just needed attention. Needed attention? So you brought in a plumber and gave him more than a tip? Nah, I blocked her on everything after that. Transferred my part of the rent early and told the landlord I'd be out by the end of the month. Packed up my stuff, left the wedding album behind. Lisa tried to corner me once, showed up at my brother's place screaming in the driveway, claimed she was pregnant. That lasted all of 2 hours until she admitted she was just scared of being alone. Then she begged, cried, swore she'd do therapy, cut off Jake, change everything. But the trust was gone. And I wasn't going to build a new marriage on top of a lie-soaked mattress and a bottle of cheap perfume she wore for someone else. So I walked away, and for the first time in weeks, I actually felt free. It's been 3 months since I walked away from Lisa. I've moved into a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. Quiet, peaceful. No random plumber shoes at the door, no fake vinegar rinses, no manipulation, no gaslighting, no emotional gymnastics. Just me. At first, I thought the loneliness would crush me, but it didn't. It was liberating. The silence that once scared me now feels like clarity. I don't jump every time my phone buzzes. I don't walk on eggshells in my own home. I eat when I want, sleep when I want, live how I want. I've started going to the gym again, reconnected with a few old friends I'd unintentionally drifted away from while trying to be the perfect husband to a woman who never really appreciated it. Funny how you don't realize how far you've been bending until you're no longer being twisted. The truth is, I don't hate Lisa. Not anymore. I feel indifferent. She texted once since the divorce finalized. Just a hope you're okay message. I didn't reply. She doesn't get access to my peace anymore. If there's one thing I've learned through all this, it's that love is not supposed to hurt this way. It's not supposed to make you doubt your worth or feel like you're constantly chasing someone who already left you emotionally long ago. So here's my advice for anyone who stumbles on this. If your gut is whispering that something's wrong, listen. Don't wait for the receipts to believe what you already feel. And never, ever beg someone to love you the way you deserve to be loved. If they can't or won't, it's not your job to fix them. It's your job to save yourself. And that's exactly what I did. Just when I thought the storm had passed, it came back, louder than ever. A week ago, I got a message on Facebook from someone named Amanda. I didn't recognize the name, no mutual friends. At first, I thought it was spam, but the message stopped me cold. Hey, you don't know me, but I thought you deserved to know. I'm Jake's girlfriend, or at least I was, until I found out he was sleeping with your wife. Yep, that Jake, the plumber. Apparently, he wasn't just cheating with Lisa, he was cheating on Amanda too. She told me everything. They'd been together for almost a year. She had no idea he was seeing someone else, let alone hooking up with a married woman. They lived together in a rented house not far from where Lisa and I used to live. Amanda had found texts on his old tablet, screenshots, dates, hotel names, even nudes Lisa had sent. Amanda was furious and heartbroken, said she tried confronting Jake, and guess what? He told her I was abusive and Lisa was trapped in a toxic marriage. Unbelievable. So now, not only was I blindsided by my wife cheating, but the guy she cheated with painted me as the villain to justify it to his own girlfriend. Amanda and I talked for over an hour. She sounded broken, but strong, hurt, but sharp. Honestly, it was weirdly comforting to speak to someone else who'd also been collateral damage in their little affair. We swapped timelines, stories, even receipts. But here's the kicker. Apparently, Lisa was still in contact with Jake even after the divorce. Amanda told me Lisa had sent him a message just 2 weeks ago. Miss your hands on me. Unreal. I wish I could say I was shocked, but I wasn't. I was numb. Like watching a bad sequel to a movie you hated the first time. Amanda said she was kicking him out. She'd already changed the locks. She also mentioned she was considering exposing him on social media, not just for the cheating, but because he'd been doing side jobs as a plumber without a license. So yeah, karma might just be coming. And here I was, just trying to rebuild my life, when Lisa's mess came creeping back in like mold under the floorboards. But I wasn't the same man I was 6 months ago. I wasn't going to let her destroy another chapter of my life. I came home last Friday after a late gym session. It was around 9 p.m. I walked up the stairs to my second floor apartment, hoodie still damp with sweat, when I noticed something strange. My front door was slightly open. I stopped. My heart dropped. I know I locked it. Always do. I'm paranoid like that, especially after everything with Lisa. I pushed the door slowly, Lights were off. Everything looked normal at first. Then I heard it soft sobbing. I flipped the light switch and nearly dropped my keys. Lisa was sitting on the floor by the couch, legs pulled to her chest, crying like her world had just ended. "What the hell are you doing here?" I asked, barely holding my voice together. She looked up, makeup smudged, hair a mess, clutching a small purse. "I had nowhere else to go," she said between shaky breaths. I felt that familiar heat of anger rise, but I held it in. "You broke into my apartment." The spare key was still under the grill, same spot as always, she whispered. She wasn't wrong. I'd totally forgotten about that. Still, I was stunned, furious. "You don't live here anymore, Lisa. You have zero right." She stood up, wobbly like she hadn't eaten or slept in days. "Jake kicked me out." I blinked. "What?"
Yeah.
After I told him I wanted to take a break, he told me to pack my stuff and get lost. He's got some other girl now, said I was too much drama. Oh, the irony. "So now you thought you'd come here?" I asked. "After cheating, lying, gaslighting me, and now invading my home?" She started crying harder. "I made a mistake, okay? A huge one. I was selfish and stupid and I threw away everything. And now I have no one." I stood there in silence, completely numb. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not really. All I could think about was how many nights I spent in that exact spot, alone, wondering what I did wrong. "You should go," I said. "Now." "I'm not asking for us to get back together," she said, sniffling. "I just need a place to stay, just for a night or two. Please." I was quiet. Part of me wanted to slam the door behind her, but the other part, the part that still hadn't completely shut off, hesitated. In the end, I told her she could sleep on the couch. One night. One. She nodded like a scolded child and curled up without another word. I barely slept that night, not because I wanted her there, but because I knew something else, something messy, was coming. I could feel it, and I was right. The next morning, I woke up early, barely slept. I found Lisa still passed out on the couch, wrapped in my old throw blanket like she belonged there. She didn't. I made coffee loudly. She stirred, stretched, and gave me this awkward little smile, like we were some awkward couple who'd had a silly argument. "Thanks again for letting me stay," she said, trying to sound sweet. I didn't respond. I was waiting for the ask, because I knew it was coming. Lisa never did anything without a plan. And sure enough, just as I was putting on my shoes to head to work, she spoke. "So I've been thinking maybe I should stay here for a while, just until I get back on my feet. You've got space, and we were together for so long, it wouldn't be that weird." I stared at her, blinked. "You think I'm going to play roommate with the woman who cheated on me with a guy who literally unclogs toilets for a living?" She winced. "Jake was a mistake, okay? I thought he was different. I thought he cared about me." "You thought wrong," I said flatly. She stood up, voice rising fast. "You think I wanted this to happen? You think I planned to fall for the plumber? Maybe if you hadn't been so emotionally distant all the time, I wouldn't have even looked at someone else." There it was, the classic Lisa move. Deflect, blame, flip the script. I just shook my head. "You cheated, Lisa, lied to my face. You gaslit me for months. And now that he's done with you, you crawl back here like I'm some backup plan?" "I'm not crawling," she snapped. "I just don't have anywhere else to go right now. But if it bothers you so much, fine. I'll leave. I'll just sleep in my car. Is that what you want?" "Not my problem anymore," I said, grabbing my bag. "But don't think for a second I'll let you manipulate me again." She scoffed. "God, you're so cold. No wonder I needed someone else." Boom. That was it. I pointed to the door. "You've got 1 hour. Be gone by the time I'm back." She stared at me, breathing heavily like she was about to explode into another hysterical monologue. But then she just stormed into the bathroom and slammed the door. I left. I didn't even care what she did after that, until I got a call from my landlord at lunch. "Hey, just wanted to check in. Your wife stopped by earlier to ask about getting her name back on the lease." I almost dropped my phone. She was trying to move back in behind my back. That was her real plan. After the landlord's call, I realized something chilling. Lisa never came back just to cry. She came back with an agenda. She knew the lease was in my name alone. She knew I had a stable job, a quiet place, and, most importantly, no one else in my life. I was safe. A fallback plan. She wanted back in, not just into my apartment, but into my life. Like the last year hadn't happened. And when she didn't get what she wanted through pity, she went around me to manipulate the situation. Classic Lisa. So I decided to beat her at her own game. I called Amanda. Yep, Jake's ex. She was more than willing to help. Turns out she had screenshots Lisa had sent Jake even after our divorce, messages trying to rekindle things, even while Lisa was asking me for a second chance. One even said, "He's still bitter. I'll play nice until I can get back in. Don't worry, babe, just biding my time." That was sent the day before she showed up crying on my floor. I was livid, but oddly, I finally had undeniable proof that Lisa's little act wasn't just toxic, it was calculated. So I printed the texts, every single one. That night when I got home, Lisa was sitting at the kitchen table. She hadn't left, of course. She looked up, smug. "I cooked dinner." "I'm not hungry," I said calmly, "but I did bring something." I dropped the folder of printed messages on the table. She flipped through the first few pages and went pale. "You went through my messages?" "Nope," I said. "Amanda sent them. Your lover's ex. You remember Jake, right? The one you were still sexting while fake crying on my couch?" She tried to speak, tried to summon some rage, pull some fake tears, but nothing came out. Just silence. "You're leaving tonight," I said. "If you don't, I'll send everything to the landlord, your job, and every mutual friend we have." She tried to play it off. "You wouldn't dare. You're too nice. That's why I thought you thought wrong." She packed in 30 minutes. The last thing she said before slamming the door was, "You'll regret this. You'll miss me." I haven't missed her for a second. I honestly thought that was the end of it, that Lisa would just disappear and move on to her next victim. But I clearly underestimated her dedication to drama, because 2 days later I started getting texts from mutual friends. "Hey man, Lisa says you hit her? WTF happened between you two? She's saying you locked her out and threatened her? She told people you emotionally abused her. Are you okay?" I was stunned. Lisa had launched a full-on smear campaign. She went on a blitz, DMing everyone we used to hang out with, painting herself as the victim of a controlling narcissist who threw her out on the street like trash. She told them I was paranoid, angry, possessive, and that she only cheated because she felt trapped. Some believed her, but not all. Thankfully, I'd already warned a few close friends about the whole situation, including the texts from Amanda. I shared those with anyone who asked, along with the voicemail from the landlord confirming Lisa's sneaky lease attempt. The backlash didn't take long. Soon enough, people began turning on her. Amanda, bless her, even posted one of Lisa's flirty messages to Jake publicly on Facebook, tagging both of them. The caption was savage. "You sure your ex was abusive, Lisa?" Because this message doesn't exactly scream traumatized woman, Lisa untagged herself and deactivated the next day. But not before I got one last message from her. "Congrats, you ruined my reputation. I hope you're happy." No apology, no remorse, just blame. Typical. I didn't reply. For the first time in months, I finally felt free. No more lies, no more manipulation, no more Lisa, just silence. And honestly, it felt like peace. Just when I thought the chaos had finally died down, Jake, yes, that Jake, the pipe-wielding homewrecker himself, slid into my DMs. It started with a simple message, "Yo, can we talk?" I almost deleted it, but curiosity got the better of me. I said, "You've got 5 minutes." He replied immediately, wanted to meet for coffee. I refused. I told him if he had something to say, he could say it right there in writing. And man, he unloaded. Jake had no idea what kind of person Lisa really was until after I kicked her out. He claimed they'd broken things off shortly before she came crying to me, and that she'd told him it was over between us for months. He had no clue we were even still married at the time. But here's where it gets wild. Lisa had been telling him that I was an abusive drunk, that I'd emotionally imprisoned her, that I threatened her if she left, that I monitored her phone and forced her to act happy in public. "She made me think I was saving her," he wrote. "She's honestly the best liar I've ever met." He told me she moved in with him after I kicked her out and that it lasted 2 weeks. She started demanding he pay for things, tried to get access to his bank account, and even snooped through his drawers when he wasn't home. She kept asking when I'd put her on the lease. When I said no, she went ballistic, he said. Eventually, she threw a vase during an argument. That was his wake-up call. He kicked her out. Jake then apologized. He actually apologized. Said if he'd known the truth, he never would have touched her. I didn't forgive him. I'm not a saint, but I respected that he came clean. He ended with this: "You didn't deserve any of that, man. She used both of us. I hope you're doing better now." I didn't reply for a while, but I eventually just said, "Thanks, and yeah, I am," because it was true. Lisa's empire of lies was crumbling, and the wreckage wasn't mine to clean up anymore. It had been a few quiet weeks. No texts, no rumors, no chaos, just peace. Then, out of nowhere, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten envelope, no return address, Lisa's handwriting. I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. Inside was a folded piece of paper and something else, a photo. It was old, from one of our vacations to Lake George years ago. She and I were smiling in the picture, holding ice cream cones. Then I opened the letter. It started normally enough. "I know you probably won't read this, but if you do, please hear me out." She wrote that she'd been staying with a friend since Jake kicked her out. She had no job, no apartment, no money. She said she lost everything, including the only person who ever truly cared about her, me. Then came the part that made my stomach turn. "I know I lied. I know I cheated. I know I broke your heart, but I never stopped loving you. And I honestly thought maybe you'd take me back." She admitted to manipulating people, using Jake, faking tears, even using our old photos to reignite emotions in me. She claimed it all came from a place of desperation. She ended the letter with, "I'm not asking for another chance. I know I don't deserve it. But if you ever think of me, I hope it's not all hate. No apology. No remorse. Just regret." I stared at the letter for a long time, then I shredded it. I wasn't going to let one photo and a carefully crafted guilt trip undo months of healing. She wanted a reaction. She wanted a crack in the door. She wasn't getting one. I blocked the number she texted me from months ago, again, and I finally donated the last of the things she'd left behind. It felt final, like I was closing a book I should have thrown away years ago. After the letter, life felt lighter. I started waking up without the pit in my stomach, without the dread that Lisa might text, call, or show up. I began focusing on me for the first time in years. I rejoined the gym, something I'd neglected during the chaos. I reconnected with old friends who drifted away during the drama. I even started seeing a therapist, someone to help me untangle the emotional wreckage Lisa left behind. One night, out of nowhere, a friend invited me to a small get together. I almost declined, but I went. And there she was, Claire. Kind, funny, honest Claire. We clicked instantly. No games, no hidden motives, just two people enjoying each other's company. It felt right. I'm not saying I'm over Lisa completely. That kind of betrayal doesn't just vanish overnight. But for the first time in a long time, I'm hopeful. Hopeful that I can trust again. Hopeful that I can build something real. And most of all, hopeful that I'm finally done running from the past. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the betrayal, it's letting go. I'm letting go. It's been months since everything fell apart. Months since Lisa's lies, the affair, the chaos, and the heartbreak. Looking back, I've learned some hard truths. One, people don't always show their true colors early on. I wish I'd noticed the red flags sooner, but hindsight is 2020. Two, trust is fragile and must be earned daily. Lisa shattered mine, and that's not something you can just patch up. Three, manipulation wears many masks. The victim act, the hysterics, the fake tears, they were all tools to control and confuse me. Four, sometimes love isn't enough. I loved her, but love doesn't excuse betrayal or disrespect. Five, healing is possible even after the worst betrayal. It takes time, support, and the willingness to move forward. If I have advice for anyone facing something similar, it's this: trust your gut, document everything. Don't be afraid to cut toxic people out of your life, even if it hurts. And most importantly, don't lose sight of your own worth. I'm finally starting to rebuild my life, not around what I lost, but around what I'm gaining: freedom, peace, hope. Thanks for reading my story. I hope sharing it helps someone out there avoid the pain I went through.